Kansas City Chiefs march assertively into the Los Angeles Coliseum, very anxious to repay a debt from earlier in this NFL season. In October at Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium, the Chiefs were beaten by the Raiders after leading by 17 points near the end of the first half. Today is payback time, and the man who will be in charge of the Chiefs offense is veteran quarterback Bill Kenny. Kenny was on the bench in that first meeting between these two traditional AFC West rivals, and he had to suffer through another brilliant come-from-behind performance by the oldest quarterback in the NFL, Jim Plunkett. Plunkett has since focused the Raiders clearly on their annual goal of winning an NFL championship. But first, this team must qualify for the playoffs, and that is not yet a reality. In fact, there is much more to this game than mere revenge. Both the Raiders and the Chiefs are 8-6 entering the 15th week of the season. Each team has its playoff chances resting squarely on its own broad shoulders. Whichever team wins this game and its final game will earn a playoff spot as a wild card. So that's what this game is really all about. A stepping stone to yet another Raider trip to the playoffs, or an opportunity for the Chiefs to take a giant step toward their first postseason play in 15 years. From the Coliseum in Los Angeles, it's the Raiders hosting the Chiefs in a very important NFL Game of the Week. The game did not begin well for the Raiders. Their first offensive play from scrimmage was a Marcus Allen fumble that was recovered by the Chiefs. From the Los Angeles 26-yard line, the Chiefs had an excellent opportunity to take command early, but all they could manage was this 3-yard run by Boyce Green and 2 Bill Kenny incompletions. Kansas City had to settle for the field goal, and Nick Lowry drilled home the 40-yarder to give the Chiefs a 3-0 advantage with a game less than 5 minutes old. On the kickoff following Lowry's field goal, it appeared that the Chiefs would once again produce another Raider turnover, as Los Angeles return man Fulton Walker, number 41, lost the football when tackled by Kansas City's Albert Lewis and Jonathan Hayes. But J.C. Pearson's delight in what seemed like a touchdown turned to disappointment, as Walker was ruled to be down before he fumbled. For the Raiders, the reprieve was but a short one. 3 plays later, they really did cough up the football, and the culprit was again Marcus Allen. Albert Lewis, number 29, was the man on the spot for the Chiefs, and for the second time in 3 minutes, Kansas City's defense had given its offense the ball in Raider territory. Field goals would not be sufficient. The Chiefs needed to get into the end zone, and Bill Kenny made sure they took full advantage of this opportunity. Wide receiver Stephon Page, number 83, grabbed Kenny's perfectly thrown pass for a 26-yard touchdown. And midway through the first quarter, the Chiefs had jumped in front 10-0. For Page, it was his 11th receiving touchdown of the season, as the 4th-year free agent continued to prove that he is one of the NFL's most underrated, yet most efficient receivers. Page again showed he's at his best near the goal line, and his outstanding effort gave the Chiefs control in this must-win game for both teams. Trailing by 10 in the first quarter, the Raiders needed first and foremost to hold on to the football. They went to the running game with rookie Napoleon McCallum, number 34, doing the brunt of the work. McCallum did not find that much room to maneuver against the Chiefs' defense, which in 1986 has evolved into one of the NFL's finest. That left the Raiders' offense in the hands of the venerable Mr. Plunkett, who has been pulling rabbits out of his helmet for quite some time with the silver and black. But early in this game, the 39-year-old veteran could not find his magic wand, and the Raider attack stalled without even reaching midfield. Los Angeles was letting any playoff opportunity slip away. If things did not turn around for them soon, there would be no postseason play for this proud team of proven warriors. The Raiders were simply getting beat on both sides of the ball. What was particularly surprising was that Kansas City, with one of the worst running games in the league, was able to move the ball on the ground. The Chiefs, not normally able to sustain long, time-consuming drives that featured a balance of run and pass, were doing just that against the Raiders' highly ranked defensive unit. As the second quarter got underway, Kansas City had marched inside the Raiders' 10-yard line. On an important 3rd and 5 from the 9, Kenny found Boyce Green for 7 yards and a 1st and goal at the Los Angeles 2. On the next play, Jeff Smith powered in for the score. And suddenly, early in period 2, the Chiefs had a 17-point lead against a stunned Raider team. The Chiefs had driven 78 yards in 12 plays. They were now in total command in a game that figured to be a lot more competitive than it had shaped up to be. The Raiders needed a spark to wake them up, and they got it on the ensuing kickoff when they successfully pulled off a reverse on the return. Vance Mueller, number 42, ended up with the ball and raced 46 yards into Kansas City territory. From there, Plunkett finally found some success in the person of wide receiver Rod Barksdale, number 88. The scoring pass covered 34 yards, and it quickly got the Raiders back into the game before it was too late. A lot of time still remained. 12 minutes were left in the first half. And in the first meeting between these two teams earlier in the season, the Raiders had overcome a 17-point deficit to come back and win. Now they were trying to do the same thing. And when they got the ball back, Plunkett effectively went to the short passing game. Marcus Allen was beginning to redeem himself for his earlier turnovers, and number 32 is now wearing down the Chiefs' defense with both his receiving and his running. Three straight Allen runs brought the ball inside the 5. But at that point, the Chiefs' defense made its stand and denied the Raiders the touchdown. Late in the second quarter, the Raiders settled for 3, and they now trail by just a touchdown, 17-10. With nearly 4 minutes to go in the half, the Chiefs were anxious to short-circuit the Raiders' momentum that had obviously been built from 10 unanswered points. Bill Kenny came out throwing, but was temporarily set back when Raider pressure up the middle forced him out of the pocket and into a quarterback sack. But on the very next play, the Chiefs kept the pass rush at bay, and the result was the longest completion of the game. Emil Harry's 35-yard catch was quickly followed by a gain almost as long. This one coming when Raiders safety Stacy Turan got a little too cozy with his pass coverage. Kansas City picked up 26 yards with a pass interference call, putting the ball at the LA-1. But then the Raider goal line defense earned its pay with 3 straight examples of defensive brilliance. When linebacker Lyndon King batted a pass away on 3rd down, the Chiefs had no recourse but to settle for a field goal. And Nick Lowry, the most accurate kicker in NFL history, tacked on the 3 points with no trouble. The Chiefs regained their 10-point margin at 20-10, but there was still time for the Raiders to get in their licks. However, a holding penalty and an interception thrown by Jim Plunkett ended any chance of further LA scoring in the first half. Kevin Ross and Deron Cherry combined to finish off the half with a flourish, a half that had featured excellent defensive play from the Chiefs. And as the third period began, that trend continued, as the Silver and Black failed to pick up even a single first down on 3 straight possessions. While Kansas City's offensive efforts weren't quite as futile, the results were the same, as the Raider defense shut out the Chiefs for the entire second half. A disturbing pattern for the Raiders was beginning to emerge. The defense would play a terrific series, only to see this quickly squandered by an offensive unit that kept giving the ball away. Number 20, Deron Cherry, grabbed his 8th interception of the season to end this drive on only the 3rd play. All told, the Raiders were going to turn the ball over a shocking 7 times in the game, a total which no defense, however good, can be expected to overcome. But the Raider unit, ranked 2nd defensively in the conference, kept playing superbly in the face of adversity. Despite Chiefs' penetration deep into LA territory following the interception, the Raiders held. And this time, Nick Lowry wasn't as accurate on a 47-yard field goal attempt. With 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, the Raiders were still alive, but needed to generate some offense, and soon. Like a bad summer television rerun, Jim Plunkett went back to pass, hurled the pigskin, and was promptly intercepted again. Once more, the thief was Deron Cherry, who with this theft had his 9th steal of the year, tops in the AFC. Cherry got help from cornerback Albert Lewis, then simply cut in front of intended receiver Tim Moffitt to grab the interception. The turnover seemed to spark the Chiefs temporarily, who had done little offensively since halftime. But after some early gains, the Raider defense tightened up and allowed Kansas City nothing more. Defensive end Greg Townsend barged in to give LA its 60th quarterback sack of the season, tops in the NFL. But then Kansas City's special teams with a high, towering punt and the sure tackling of number 55 Lewis Cooper backed the Raiders up deep in their own territory. If ever the Raider offense was on the spot, this was it. And they responded as Plunkett directed their most efficient drive of the afternoon. Plunkett fired 3 key completions to get the Silver and Black into Kansas City territory. But then it appeared as if the interception bug was about to bite again, as yet another Plunkett pass was picked off by Deron Cherry. This time, however, the Raiders got a break from the officials. Chiefs defensive end Pete Koch, who is starring in Clint Eastwood's latest film, Heartbreak Ridge, felt a little heartbreak himself as he was flagged for roughing the passer. Instead of Chiefs possession, LA still had the ball. This proved to be a critical call in the game. Given a second chance, the Raiders responded with 4 straight running plays that would eventually earn them a touchdown. When Marcus Allen blasted over right tackle from 3 yards out, the Raiders had trimmed the Kansas City lead to 20-17. The entire fourth quarter still remained, and the Chiefs' attack continued to be ineffective against the rugged Raider defense. When LA got the ball back, they continued their methodical but steady movement downfield. Consuming over 6 minutes, the Raiders were marching for what seemed to be a tying or even go-ahead score. But after 2 solid runs from Napoleon McCallum, the Navy ensign committed perhaps the most costly Raider turnover of the game. Safety Lloyd Burris forced the fumble, and the Chiefs recovered, ending the Raider drive. And then the Kansas City offense finally stopped sleepwalking, accumulating enough first downs to eat up nearly 4 minutes on the clock. But when the Chiefs needed just a few more yards to put the Raiders away, they could not convert, as the Silver and Black defense made yet another stand. With 2 minutes to go in the game, LA got the ball back. Down 20-17, this is usually more than ample time for a normal Raider rally. But 1986 has not been a normal year for this team, which ended all hopes for a storybook finish on its very first play of the drive. Cornerback Kevin Ross drove the final nail in the Raider coffin with the 4th Kansas City interception of the day. It marked a shattering conclusion for the 39-year-old Jim Plunkett, who just a few weeks ago had come off the bench and sparked the Raiders in what appeared to be one of their typical late-season playoff surges. Time ran out, and the Raiders had lost 20-17, all but ending any postseason possibilities. One need only look at the turnover totals to tell the story of this game. 7 giveaways for LA, none for Kansas City. While 1986 marks a year of frustration for the Raiders, it is a season ripe with opportunity for the Kansas City Chiefs. The men from Arrowhead have not made the playoffs since 1971. But now the possibility is within their grasp. They don't need help from any other team. The task is simple for Coach John Makovic and his athletes, at least on paper. All they have to do now is beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh in the final week of the regular season. If the Chiefs do this, Christmas will come early to Kansas City with a gift-wrapped playoff berth for the first time in 15 years.